Okay. So in order to import your, so first of all, on the left side, there's a section that's called My Classes. And the plus button actually allows you to create a new, to actually create or join a class. So you're going to select the create class. And it has the option of typing in your classes in case that you're not a Google Classroom district or school. But it also has a button that says import a Google Classroom. And when you click on it, it will take you to your Google Classroom. Because I only have one class, it only lists that one. But if you have multiple, it will list all of them here. And then one by one, you need to import them. And the reason is, you'll see in a minute why. So when I click on that class, I'm getting the roster of that class. And here, the reason you get the roster is because, especially because we are also working with gifted and talented, and many times in a gifted, in a class, not everybody is a gifted and talented. So you want to select the students that will be in your class, those gifted students. But in case that everybody is, then you have the option select all. Let's say that you want to select everybody in the class. You just go to select all. But if it's not, then you just select the ones that you want to import. And then you click on sync, and it's supposed, and it tells you, okay, synced with Google Classroom. We are going to skip this tour. And here it is. So it just created the new class. The new class is on the bottom here that was created. And, and it always creates it under My Classes. So you're going to have a list of earlier classes here. And then you have the roster, the students that joined the class. For some reason, I don't know why. I know why, actually. It takes one of my students from Google Classroom. This is a sample class, you understand. It's not real class. So it takes one of those who also are functioning in Project Pulse as a teacher and puts them in the right place under teachers. but it's not that we have two teachers right now. So that's it. So this is the new class that was created. Everything is in there right now. And you can co-teach a class. So how do you do that? How do you co-teach a class? Let's say that you have another teacher who wants to work with you on a project. All you have to do is inside the class. So right now I'm in the class, and on the top, under members, this is where you see your roster and everything. And on the top above that, there is something that's called class code. And so the class code is written very small, but you can also see it big by clicking in the little square next to it that shows you here a floating, number of the class. And then you just copy that code and you provide that to another teacher who already signed up. So that teacher needs to be signed up, and you provide that class code. And when they are coming to join the class, they will click on the plus button and they will go to join class, and they will type in that class code, and they will be joined, and they will be added under teachers. So this is how you add more teachers into the class. This is also the way by which, let's say that you decide that you want to do a project together with another teacher and her students or his students. That's exactly the way you will combine a class. You will create a class, your own class, you will import your students, and then you'll give the class code to that teacher, and that teacher will give it to her students. And they will come to Project Pulse. And of course, all those need to be already signed up to Project Pulse. And they will come to My Classes, click on Join Class, and they will type in that class code, and they will be part of the larger class, the class that's working together with another teacher. So that's the way. This is also the way by which you can collaborate with people in another state. I mean, with students in another state, with classrooms in another state, in another country, you name it. This is as simple as that, to actually collaborate with others through this. Okay. So let me just go out of this account, because as I said, this is just for the one purpose of showing you how to create your Google Classroom. So, so this is, we are in the My Drafts area. And this is where you, I mean, right now, what you have is just this plus button because you've not created any projects yet. But once you create projects, they are going to show up like tiles, like project tiles like this. And so what the method that we recommend that you start when you start teaching is to go to the Project Pulse catalog. So right now you're in My Draft. As I said, My Draft is the place where teachers author their projects before they assign them to the class. So everything that's here is a project that was not assigned yet, okay? Now, once you go to the Project Pulse catalog, there are all these projects, as I said before. And I recommend, so the first, so there's different types of projects. The first type of project is the orientation. There's only one of that. And the orientation project, I highly recommend it. If you don't want to start teaching them how to use Project Pulse, this is a very good way to do it. So you just go into the project and the project explains to you, to the students, that in this project, you're going to learn how to use Project Pulse by going through a journey that focuses on you. You will use the videos to learn about each feature and then practice by doing the following assignments. And so here they start with learning about text. So there's a video that they need to double click and then listen to, and then they will learn how to use text. Once they know how to use text, they will go into this text box and tell us about yourself so they can type up about themselves. This project needs to be assigned to each individual student separately. This should not be done in a team because it's individual. And then another video that shows how to remove objects from the workspace. And then they want to learn about media, how to use media. And so in this case, they will learn about images, how to add images, videos, adding sound, adding files, all those things. Every single one of them has a video and has an assignment. It says add images about yourself and your family, add video about yourself, so on. So you understand the idea. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but that's the idea that, you know, and I highly recommend that you do it because once students do this in the beginning, they will know everything. The next project you give them, they will not ask questions. They will just have to ask questions about the topic and that's all. Now, other things are starter projects. So starter projects are projects that are no more than one tab. They will include things like brainstorm template, for example, or the English GLAD method, or digital citizenship. So what's special about these projects is that they are no more than 1 to 2 tabs. And they are very short. They will not last more than a day or two. If you want to kind of test the ground a little bit with something like this, it's a good idea to start here. Then we have templates, and templates here are more general topics. So for example, you know, if you are doing a book report, it's a good idea, any book, you can use the book report template. If you're doing a science experiment, science investigation template, a biography. I mean, you understand that these are more general, not very specific to one thing. And then lesson plans. And lesson plans are more subject specific. And here you will find a lot of interesting stuff. You know, can you teach me? This whole project is dedicated. And by the way, we have 20 TPSP projects mapped. This is one of them. And it also tells you this project was adapted from Texas Performance Standards. So if you hover over it, you see which one is and which one isn't from the, this as well is from there. So there's a lot of projects that are adapted from the TPSP. And so can you teach me? This is basically training students to become teachers. So they are going through all the steps of becoming teachers. And finally, they will design a lesson plan and they will teach the class and they will get feedback from their peers and they will produce a documentary and so on. I'll show you in a minute how that looks. And then finally, completed projects. And completed projects are projects that have been finished by students. And if you want to have an idea how a completed project looks like and what you should expect of your students, it's a good idea to open one of these. So for example, a project like how can we help solve homelessness, or products in motion is a TPSP project that is complete. And so it's a good idea to just go and look and see how that looks. And finally, single tab. And single tab is, let's say that you're going through all our catalog, you search and you didn't find anything that addressed whatever you need to teach. These are one tab templates that can be mixed and matched in a way that will, will be more appropriate to whatever your goal is. So for example, if you are doing a project about some observation, it's a good idea maybe to start with an observation template, and then maybe add to it another one that you want them to find problems in that observation. So problem based on observation, and maybe come up with some ideas about that. So ideate template. So if you combine these three, and I'm going to show you how you can do that with the wizard, with the project wizard, then you can come up with something that is closely resembling what you want in your project. And there's quite a few of those. Now, in addition to all that, every single project in the Project Paths catalog, you can go to their tabs. And if you think that it's something that you would like to use in your custom project, you can copy it to your project. So basically, your repository of where you can take tabs from that exist already are unlimited by the number of tabs that you have in each project. And that is a little bit more advanced skill, and I will show it to you how to do this in the end of our training. So let me just go here to, so this is, so let's say that, is there any project that you would like me to start with here in the catalog? Anything that attracts your attention?
There was one that I was looking at, so we have a problem.
Yeah, we have a problem.
We've got a problem.
Oh, this
yeah,
one?
because that was one of the ones that I know my high school kids did. Some of them.
Okay. So let's you decided that this is a good one. So you click, in order to see what's inside, you just click on the name and then it shows up. And this is, it's okay. Now, as I said before, there are two sections for a project. One of them is where the work is done by students, and the other one is the project dashboard. Now, before you assign a project to a class, you better go through this and make sure that in the dashboard, everything is there before you assign it. So for example, what do you have in the dashboard? You have details. So details, you can change the image. Let's say you don't like this image, you can change it. You can change the name of the project if you wish to. Here you have several things. One of them, it says publicly visible. And publicly visible means that once the students finish the project and you want to share it with parents or with anybody outside of the school, then you will click on publicly visible. And that will provide you a field that will ask you to add a password. And you will put in a password that you will make, and then you will provide this URL to anybody who wishes to see this project. That will provide it to them without the analytics and without the names of the student. So all they will be able to see is just the content, nothing else. And but only if you do this, only if you click. And when you send it to them, you have to send the password that you made for this project. So to make sure that not everybody who gets this URL can open it, but only those who have the password can open it, okay? So, and only teachers can do this. The students don't have access to publicly visible. And here, there's the status of the project. You have, once they finish, they can select finished. When you finish grading, you can select graded. So when you have, just imagine you have a lot of projects with the same image and you're not sure which one you graded and which one you didn't. That's a good thing to ask the student, not to ask the students, to click graded when you graded something. And then you know that this one you don't need to touch anymore. And then finally, we also provided the ability to grade it, but then hide the project because some of the teachers were using it for testing. So they did not want, after the students tested, they did not want the students to have access to reveal their questions to the other students. So that's the other option, okay? There's also here a description of the project. So if you want to change the description of the project, that's also possible, okay? So that's the project detail. Then team members, right now you only see the authoring teacher, which is in this case, it's me. And then once this project is assigned to students, then once it is assigned, then you will see the team's name here, the team members' names here also show up, okay? Now, standards. You want to add the TEKS or anything like that, you just click on the add standards, you select the Texas here, and you select the subject and whatever, let's say that this is English language arts, and then select the grade level 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it gives you all the English language standards for high school. And all you have to do is just select the ones that apply to this project and just add selected standards. I don't want to do it because this is our catalog project, so I don't want to mess with it, but I'm going to show you in a minute once we clone it. And then supporting materials. This is where you can add supporting materials. All you have to do is click here, add, and you have two options. One of them to drag the file from your hard drive here, or if this is something on the web, just insert the URL for that article or whatever, you know, and you can add the following. You can add web pages, you can add PDFs, you can add YouTube files, you can add MP3 files, you can add any G Suite file and any Office 365 file, the one that sits on the web, not the one on your computer. So all those can be added as supporting materials. They will show up as links, and the students will click on the link with the names and everything. They will click on the link and it will open in a new tab. Both students and teachers can add supporting materials. So if students are doing research, they find a good source, they can add it as a supporting material. Tasks. And you know what, let's just, I will continue this once so let's say that you went through everything and now you're going through all these tabs and checking it out. And you're saying, okay, you know, you're looking through, there are guiding questions. As I said in our presentation, there's scaffolding here. So this is not the research, this is scaffolding that tells the students what they need to do. So here it says, replace this text with the problem that you think needs to be solved and why. So brainstorm about the problem. And then, you know, once they come up with a decision, they by the way, first of all, they will ask the community if there's something that the community thinks that is a pain point. And then they will get a survey results, you know, and then based on that, they will brainstorm. Once they brainstorm and come up, the team brainstorms, and each student can, this looks like a digital sticky note, which it is, and each student can assume their own color. So one of them will be pink, the other one will be green or whatever. And if they need more, all they have to do is just create a copy. And there it is, okay? So the pink one can add more and more and so on. So, so this is how they will start brainstorming about what they think that they need to focus on. And then somebody in the team will come up and list what is the problem to be solved, what they decided that should be solved. And maybe another team member will write what is the importance of this problem and so on. So once you go through all these tabs, and I'm not going to go through everything, once you go through all these tabs and you decide that this is perfect, that's exactly what I need, okay? Now you will go and you are going to decide, well, I'm going to go to the Project Pulse catalog. I'm going to go to, where is it? We got the problem, and hover over it and you will click on clone. Because this one that sits in the catalog, you cannot write in it. You cannot do anything in it. I was only able to do it because it's my project. But once you go to the catalog, it's not going to let you do anything with it unless you clone it. So you click on clone, and that will create a copy for you. It says your project is being cloned. Refresh this page in a few minutes. So, and the reason is that, you know, it takes time to clone it. So that's why it tells you refresh it in a few minutes. But let's just, you know, let's just try it. Let's click. It's actually doing it pretty fast. And every time you clone a project, it puts it next to the plus button. So every new project that you do will always be next to the plus button. So now we can go in there, and this actually belongs to you. You can change and do anything here, you know, and as I said before, you want to, you know, and so on. So let's just go back to the dashboard because we didn't finish it previously. So, so once you have a cloned version, this is where you start preparing this project for your students. And so if you start first with the dashboard, as I said before, you change the details, the team members, not yet, because you will have to assign it first. Standards, you add the standards, you make sure to add the standards. Supporting materials, what type of materials you want them to read for this project. And then task, let's get to task. Now task, I highly recommend that you use task. Why? Because this makes the difference between a team that's frustrated, that will say, oh no, Jane was supposed to do this, not me. And those fights that you are trying to avoid, by having them get used to the idea that they have to define a task for themselves and they will know exactly what they need to do. That makes your life so much easier because everybody knows who needs to do what. And so it's easy to do a task. All you have to do is click new task. You type the title, read about whatever this problem, whatever problem it is. And then you select a due date. And let's say this, and then you describe, use the source for material and so on, whatever, whatever it is, and they will describe what the problem is. Now, I am suggesting one more thing to you. You can assign tasks. You can assign tasks before you assign the project. If you assign those tasks before you assign the project, every student will get them. However, if once you assign the project, there's no more. You cannot assign anymore because it's not going to get to all the students. Why? Because we are not overriding student work. So once they get it, once the students have the project and they have been assigned, the tasks that will be done are going to be them assigning tasks to themselves. So I like to call this top level tasks. The tasks that you create before you assign it are called top level tasks because they relate to everybody. So in this, you generally describe what you are expecting of them. And since there are multiple tasks, it's probably a good idea even to say, oh, this relates to the, maybe here before the read, you can say problem task, a problem tag. And then you can say, what is the title? And then everybody knows that in the problem tab, you have for them maybe 1, 2, or 3 tasks that you want them to accomplish. And then they will take these tasks when they get them, and they will make out of it smaller tasks for themselves. They will like, oh, this text box is going to be done by Jane, but the other one is going to be done by John. And, so here's the top level task that everybody is going to get. And when you open it, this is how it looks, okay? And once they come to the project, oh, okay, so that's what she expects of us. Now I'm going to assign this to Jane, this is to John, and this is to David. And, and each of them knows that they are responsible for that. And this one, the entire team is responsible for, because every single one of them needs to weigh in and provide their own feedback, right? So, so that's how this works. Any questions about that?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm following along with you. Okay. The only thing that I haven't been able to do yet is create the classes, because it said it linked up my Google Classroom, but it didn't pop up like yours did. I didn't have any names pop up. Okay, then this is something I need to tell my tech team, so I'm glad you told me. So you were not able to access your Google Classroom. Now, if you and it says it was synced. I mean, it synced it. So here's the issue. It said what? It said they were synced, but the classroom didn't show up. I mean, did it list the classrooms? No, it didn't. It said it was synced, okay, but it didn't. I'm going to go back again and try. Okay, so I am not expecting that in the account. So here's the problem. The problem is that you created another account with your personal email, and your personal email is not attached to your Google Classroom. Yes, I'm in the one that's attached to my school email. And even that one, even that one didn't list your, right? Is that correct? No, it didn't. I guess I'm going to try again. Okay. It says no classes found. And that's the one that I did have my school email. All right. So let me just report that.
to our tech team. I'm going to tell them that they need to look into it and see what the problem is. And I'm going to let you know, okay?
Okay, thank
You'll
you.
be fine, believe me. Also, we are going to take care of that, this using your personal email is going to be temporary, because I already see a problem by you even being able to access your Google Classroom with your personal email. You will not be able to. So we will take care of it. It's very possible that we are going to tell you, we are going to make you into a district admin together with Denise, because that way you will see all the classes and you will see everything. So it's very possible that that's going to be the solution. Okay.
All right.
Okay. But don't worry about it. It will be fine. Okay. So that's that. Now, after you after you went through all these, so I set tasks, right? I worked on tasks, and this is where it comes assigned to class. So assign to class, before you assign to class, as I said, you need to make sure that all the other information is in there, that you put all the supporting materials you want them to have, that you put the standards in, that you put the upper level tasks that you expect them to do, that, and so on. So evaluate, this is where you put the rubrics. So you know how in TPSP you have a page of rubrics assessment, and you can link to that. You can go to that URL and just click here and add that URL, and they will get that, they will get from TPSP the, they will be able to open it and see what the rubrics are for that project. So this is the,
I don't know what I did, but now it's showing me my classes.
okay, cool.
I'm excited now because I have all my GT kids in one Google Classroom.
Perfect. Good. But as I said,
Okay.
we will have to change your status probably to district admin, so that you are not going to use your personal email, because your personal email is not going to connect you to your Google Classrooms.
Yeah, it's not.
No, okay. Anyway, so that's that we'll resolve that. And then analytics. Right now you see nothing in analytics, but you only student contribution is recorded. You will see, because right now if I open this, nothing is there, but once students start working, you will. And here you will see a pie chart, a big pie chart that shows exactly, the students will see as they start working, they will see this big pie chart, and you will see that as well, of the percentage of work that was done by each team member. And that, believe me, is a big motivator for them. So that's that. So once you resolve this, everything is there. You go through all these tabs, you check them out. If there's something you want to change, this is a place to change it. Very easy. And I'll go through this in a minute. Let's just go now to the only thing that we still have to do here in the dashboard, and that is the assign to class. So I click on assign to class, and I am getting all my classes, the classes that you just imported. If you imported, if not, then once you will import, then you'll see them here. And then you just select the class that you want to assign this project to. Let's say that I'm selecting class B, okay? And then once you select, then these two buttons are getting enabled. So one of them says create teams, the other one says skip teams and assign. So create teams is when you decide who's going to be in the team. So you decide which students are going to be in each team. The other one is when you decide to give them more independence. In that case, you will assign team leaders, and those team leaders are going to decide who's going to work with them in the team. In both cases, you need to assign something, okay? In this case, you assign the entire team. In this case, only team leaders, okay? So I'm going to click on the first option, and it's going to say assigning a project. You must create teams of one or more students and so on, click next. And so here it actually shows you what to do. Select one or more students, then add them to a team. Now you can select, if this is an individual project, you can select one student in a team. That means each student, so the orientation, for example, you will assign to one student. So you will click on one, and then add to team. And then you click another one and so on. But if this is a team project, if this is a team, so this is one team of one student, okay? And then click the X, so it's just showing you, and then finish and assign. So once you created the teams, it says, okay, now press finish and assign. So this is just an example, but this is when, that was training, I would say. This is when you really do it. So you start by, let's say that I'm doing now 2 students in a team. So I'm going to select, Benjamin and Darren together, and I'm going to say add to team. So the first team was created. Now I'm going to select Danielle and Elizabeth to work together. I'm going to say add to team. And then finally, I have poor Sid working by herself. So I'm going to add to team. Okay, so 3 teams. That's just created from the entire class, 3 teams. And now I'm going to click on finish and assign because I don't have any more. And it tells me, okay, assignment processing, check the class in a few minutes. And this is really, you really have to wait a little bit because this is not a short project. It has a lot of tabs. And so you'll have to wait a few minutes until it generates them here. And once it generates them, it will add them here next to the plus button, okay? So let's just see, what did it generate already? So it already generated one of them. It still has to generate 2 more. So here, Benjamin and Darren's project is already ready. In a few minutes, we're gonna refresh the screen again, and we'll have all 3 projects here, okay? And again, as I said, because it copies all those tabs, it takes a little bit. So, but that's okay. Once you go back to it, you can refresh another one and see, oh, there's already all 3 projects are here. So you see that Darren and Benjamin, Elizabeth and Daniel and Sid, all 3 projects are here. You have them here. This is where you come to, you will come to this class, you will come to, to projects, and you will find the students' projects, and then you can check them and see what they're doing and how they're doing, okay? So that's how you assign projects. When, on the other hand, let me go back to the catalog and let's pick another project. Let's say that I'll clone this one. Can you teach me? And let's say that this project, you decide that you want to delegate to team leaders, okay? If that's what you want to do, then here it is. Then in that case, you go into the project. And again, after adding everything that you need to add here and changing things and so on and so forth, you're ready to assign. You click on assign to class. But in this case, you're going to go to class, another class, let's say. And here you're going to say skip teams and assign. And it tells you assignment created. Okay. But in this case, it doesn't show up under projects. It shows up under assignments. So can you teach me is always on the top. Whenever you assign something, always will show up on the top. Now what happens here? Once so let's say that you decide that Jane is going to be one of the team leaders, or Elizabeth. So I'm clicking on here where it says not started, and Elizabeth now logs in, and she comes and she starts the assignment, okay? Now, she will start the assignment, and it tells her, if you are part of a group, only the group leader should start the assignment, and you confirm, okay? Now,
I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening outside, but they're grabbing my door, and I'm like,
wow.
I'm trying to focus, and I don't know what's going on out there. I'm just gonna continue to focus. I locked my door, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now here it says, here it gives that Elizabeth the roster, the classroom roster, and Elizabeth decides now who's going to work with her. Maybe Sid, okay? And then she presses start. I'm not going to do it because I am not Elizabeth, but I have to log in as Elizabeth to show you how that works. Okay. I could, but I'm trying to save time because we have to cover a lot of stuff.
Oh,
so,
it's okay.
So what's going to happen is that in class C, under project, you're going to see that project showing up here, okay? That is going to be under Elizabeth and Sid together. They're going to be working on that project. So that's the delegation. That's how you do the delegation. Okay, now let's just go into one of these projects, and let's say that we, I think it was B. Let's just go into one of these projects and go a little bit through the different functionalities of how to work in the system. So as you see, we have here text boxes. So this is a text box, very easy to change things. All you have to do is just click inside. You have a whole, this is click to edit. You have all the editing tools that you need here. So if you decide that you want to change this from the problem to something else, you just have to highlight and change. You have everything. You have bullets, you have, you name it, whatever you want to add here. It's very easy.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
There's a teacher at my door.
No problem.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The bell's about to ring. I think that's what's going on out there. Okay, I'm back.
So as I said, text boxes, very easy. All you have to do is click inside and you get the editing tools on the top. Any editing tool, you have color, you have bold, italic, you name it. All you have to do is highlight and start writing. That's all. These are the question tools we have, because in project-based learning, questions are very important not tools, but very important things, a driving question or questions in general. There is a special tool for it. This is the third tool here. And by the way, to create a text box, it's very easy. All you have to do is just click inside the A here, and it creates for you a new empty text box. And you just have to start typing, and you get the editing tools and everything. Now, let's say that you just created it and realize that you don't need it anymore. You don't need the text box. You click on the 3 dots here, and it has something that's called archive object. Now, why archive? And why not delete? Archive because students, or anybody can delete something inadvertently or in purpose sometimes, just to get back at some, other team member. And we wanted to make sure that something like that never happens, that everything can be restored. And so how do you restore if you archive? So we have something that's called the content tool, the content library tool. And the content library tool records everything in the project. Everything you have in the project is stored in the content library. Any text box, any question, anything is there and can be repurposed. You can copy it to the workspace, to any workspace. But I'm not going to focus on this because this is very advanced. But in the same place, you also have something that's called Show Archive. And when you click on that button, then it gives you everything that was archived in this project. So let's say that I want to restore this text box that I just archived. I can click on the arrow and press restore. And it is here, it restored it. Okay. So it's back in the same place. So that's how you can restore anything that was archived. Okay. Now, you also can, so as I said before, so this is the text tool. This is the media tool. So how do you add media? First of all, you click on the media tool, and there's the entire media of the project. So let's say that I want to add, I don't know, and you see different types of media, by the way. You also have files like G Suite files. You see that they have the icon. This is a Google Sheet and other types of. So let's say that I want to add this image here somewhere. I click on it and I place on workspace. And here it is. It just put it in the workspace for me. And it has handles, and I can make it bigger, and I can make all kinds of stuff here. So, and I can also archive it if I need to. Okay. All right. So that's the media tool. And by the way, this is one of the, this survey, which came from Google survey. And when you put a link like that, when you put something like that on the workspace from the media, when you double click on it, it opens it up in a new tab. So here's the whole survey that was added to this workspace. So the idea was here that first you ask the community, you ask them all these questions about what does work as well as you would like, doesn't work, what problems would you like to see solved, and so on. So this is the survey that kids. So again, we are not trying to replace Google. Google has a lot of good things they are doing, you know, so we definitely use Google in our applications. You can add the icons of any type of file that you would do, spreadsheet, survey, you name it. If you need it in the project, you can add it from Google, and it can be opened like this. Then a question tool. If you click on the fourth tool here, that's a question tool. It gives you a placeholder of a question. You can make it bigger or smaller or whatever you need. And you start typing, just type the question, and that's it. And then so this is how all these questions were created. Now to make these, this is a text tool basically, but to make a text tool into a sticky note, all you have to do is go to format item and then select the color and mark with pin. And then it turns a regular text box into a sticky note like that, into a digital sticky note. And then you can go to the next tab and check it out and so on. So far, all these I already explained to you. And basically now here comes the another tool. So we also have the component tool and the events tool. I don't know if we'll have enough time to explain that, so I will probably skip that. But if you are interested, we can always schedule another time. You let me know if you have a project with a tool like that, and we can always schedule another time and I can show you how to use it. But right now I'm going to just show you what's in this project. What you see here is exactly like the question tool, only it has different types of labels. That's called the analysis style. And the analysis style is tool number 3 from the bottom. And each of them has a label. There's a label that says evidence, there's a label that says reason. So what's here? Here, students have to determine the importance of the problem they are trying to solve. And they have to provide us with reasons for the importance and also with evidence that proves it. So this visual representation of that is definitely something that makes it very clear why they solve this, why they decided to use this problem, and what are the reasons for it, and what is the evidence to it. Now, how do you create these analysis styles? You click on the, as I said, third tool from the bottom, and the default is problem, solution, and evidence. But I also added reason here. So you can actually add a custom one. So the custom in this case was reason. I can also add cause if I need to. And then type in here the cause for this problem is, or whatever, you know, replace this with the cause. That's what we should actually say. Replace this text with the cause for this problem. And then I'm creating this, and here is another one. I just created a new one with a label that says cause. So you can create different types of labels. Now, there's also another thing that's here. And what's here is the relationship tool, the connectors. So the relationship tool is the one on the bottom. That's the relationship tool. There's two tools here, drawing, which don't worry about it. And you just move on to relationships. And when you click on relationship, then just select the type of line that you want the connector to have, whether it's solid or broken, and then the thickness of the line, and then whether it ends with an arrow, and the color, in this case, it's green. And then every single object on this workspace, when the relationship tool is selected, every single object gets these little purple dots that you can use to connect to another object's purple dots and even define the relationship between them. So say, you know, whatever this is, you know, it leads to, or whatever, you know, whatever the, or if there's no relationship, in this case, there is none. Okay. So in this, these two now are connected. It's very easy to remove the connection by clicking on the X. So that's how you use the relationship tool. This is how this whole thing, this whole mind map was created. And then here is the research and so on, stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Yes, we are using actually the component tool here in this project. And so let me explain really fast for you so you can use it. So the component tool is basically, when engineers are trying to solve a big problem, they are breaking it down to smaller problems and they are solving each problem separately. While they are doing that, they are also identifying what are the main parts of the problem that they absolutely have to know. And those main parts, they are researching, and they are actually creating for each of them a component. And this is the component tool. Now, what is the component? Component has characteristics. So in this case, there is a component for a stakeholder, okay? Because in this case, there are always stakeholders. When you're trying to solve a problem, there are always stakeholders you need to consider. And so each of these is a stakeholder. And it tells you here in the characteristic stakeholder level, for example, is it a local stakeholder, a state, a national, the name, the phone number, all their information here. And you can add as many of these characteristics as you need. So what the students are going to do in this case, they are going to come up with decision-making bodies or stakeholders, whether on the local level, the state level, the national level, and they will come up and investigate about them and write down their characteristics. And how do you do that? You just click on the three dots, go to edit item, and go to next. And here you start writing, okay, instead of stakeholder level, you will put local or national or state. And then what is that stakeholder's name? What is his phone number? What is his, and each of them, as I said, these are all characteristics. What is the address? And so on. So everything that defines that stakeholder will be in here. And if you need to add more, you just click on add item. And then you add more information about that person. And then finally, when you complete it, you just click on save. And that will be saved and the information will be in here, okay? All right, so that's that. Now let's go to the project scope. And as you know, unfortunately, this is an advanced project. So so we are using all the tools here, including our advanced tools, as I said, the components and the events tool. Am I loading you too much? Because I feel like I do.
Yes, but it's okay. I know there's a whole lot.
Okay.
But I'm glad that you're recording this so that
so
way.
Again, listen, Jillian, we have a repository of videos, short videos that explain how to use the events tool, how to use the component tool. So there are short videos that take no more than a few minutes. So if you don't feel like going through an hour of training that I'm doing now, then just go to that repository and look for exactly what you need, okay? In addition to that, there are good videos in the orientation for students. For every single one of these functionality, there's a video. So you can even use it yourself. So don't even need to go to the YouTube. You can use it yourself. You can go to those videos and use it yourself. Each of them is a short video that shows what to do. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, what I was looking at, I think, just to get started and for me to get the feel of everything, I'm going to assign like all my middle school kids the same assignment. That way we can start with that and we can work through it together. And
yeah,
I'm glad you're recording this. That way I can like slowly go through.
Yeah. As I said,
know it was a whole lot of information.
Yeah, as I said, those videos are amazing because they're short. They are and to the target. Oh, text. Okay, let's see. How do you do text? Oh, event tool. Let's see how. So if components are the main parts of a problem, events are the processes. So here we are describing a process, and each of these is a step. So the project scope. Replace this text with one item of the project scope. So each item of the project scope will be described here. You can add as many steps as you want. There's no limit, okay? And Here, project milestones. You can define all the milestones here, okay? And so on. So this is what it is. It's very powerful. It's a very powerful tool because you can also add here dates. So if you're doing a project in social studies or history, you can do a timeline this way. And you can also map it on a Google map and display it as a gallery view. So it's really amazing, okay? How to edit this? Yeah, click on the three dots, go to edit, and type in the name of the process and the image or the timeline or whatever you're doing with this, and then go into each step and replace it with whatever they tell you to replace it with. And if you need to add more, just add step and add more. And to create new ones, all you have to do is go to the events tool, which is tool number 6, and click on it. And when you do that, oops, here it gives you a new one. Type the name, add an image, press next, and start adding the steps for that event. Okay. And to add a new component, just click on the component tool, which is tool number 5. And again, type the name, add an image, go next, and start adding the characteristics. So this is how you use the component and events tools, okay? Then, as I said, this is not an easy project. I don't know, and again, you don't need to have, the students don't need to do everything. But when they do it, it's very powerful. So this is the work breakdown structure, project parts, you know, how do you, this is the project itself. These are all the phases of the project. Each phase has its own characteristics, project phase ID, description, who's responsible, start date, end date, all those things. And then there's tasks. Each phase has its own tasks. So you go to the task ID, project phase, start date, end date, budget, so on and so forth. Again, if you feel that this is too much, you can always click on tabs that you don't want to give them and go to delete workspace if it's you feel that it's too much for them, okay? But there's description of everything, you know, and then timeline. This is the Gantt chart, you know, and when you have a project and you want to do you have a Gantt chart, and you even have a real spreadsheet to do it on. And then resources. Again, here, project resources, you can show how resource 1 starts, and then you move on to resource 2 with a date. So everything can be planned here. It's really very powerful in that sense. And final budget, you know, what is the budget, and so on. So this is not an easy project, Jillian. You started with a very complex project, I think.
I was looking at the video game design too, but I mean, I think you've given me enough information to where like I can go in and play with it. And
yeah,
like I said,
mean, you can always go to a simple one like, can you teach me, which is mostly text, images, and questions, nothing more.
Okay.
And that is not complicating anybody's brain. It's still exciting because students are actually planning to become teachers, and
everybody and their dog trying to find the hold on.
And then they teach the class, you know, and remember that you can always create your own projects. Now, just one last thing. I know that we exceeded a little bit your time. Just one last thing. This is the
Sorry, I'm like the person for everything.
Just one last thing. I want to show you how to create your own projects. You click on the plus button here, you see, and then you go to name the project, my project, or whatever your project is. And you go and you can describe the project. You can also do it later. You can add an image here for the project. I will skip that right now. You have 2 options. Option number 1, when you do it all from scratch, you choose the blank option. If you want to choose our one-tap templates, and let's say that you want to start with the brainstorm, you select this template. It also shows you, give you an image of what you expect. And then you're adding another phase. And after that, you want to ask questions. So let's say a tab for just dedicated to questions. And then you add another phase. And this time, and by the way, if you don't find what you're looking for, there's more templates. So when you go to more templates, you check, maybe you find something else that you need. Let's say that problems based on observation or something. I'm just selecting randomly something, okay? And then you say finish. Okay, this makes up my project.
Okay. No, I was gonna say, I really have to go now.
Yeah. That's
But
fine.
if you send me the recording for this, I mean, like I said, I think you gave me more than enough for me to get in there and start.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So here, these are the 3 tabs that you already combined to do your own special project. So
okay, awesome.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna just send you the recording. And as I said, highly recommend the orientation has all these small videos. And recommend it for your students as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Jillian.
For your time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye.